In this presentation, I will outline my Wicked Problem project, which involved implementing Edmodo as an LMS system for my classroom. This school year, I am switching from first grade to fourth grade because my principal wants to give me the opportunity to have students utilizing technology more in order to enhance their learning. I want to use technology to address several needs. First, I want to increase student motivation for writing. Students often view writing as a difficult task with limited outcomes. Because of this, students at my school tend to have weak writing scores on the MEP compared to the other subject areas. To help motivate students, I want to give them authentic assignments that allow them to practice their writing skills, as well as giving them a purpose for writing by providing an audience beyond just me. Second, it's very important to keep parents involved and up to date with their child's progress. Parents play an important role in their child's education because students' attitudes about education are often influenced by their parents. Furthermore, if parents are informed about their students' progress, they are more likely to be involved in their child's education, as well as be more supportive of the teacher's efforts. However, it can be very challenging to send updates to all parents because of the large number of students in my class and the many assignments they complete each week. Lastly, I want to expand the variety of assessments that I utilize in order to address different learning styles. Some students really excel at discussions, however, it can be difficult to document these for assessment purposes. My solution to these needs is utilizing a learning management system, or LMS. There are many LMSs available, including Moodle, Edmodo, SchoolRack, and Edu 2.0. After reviewing the different systems available, I decided to try Edmodo. One reason I chose Edmodo is the interface is designed to resemble Facebook. Students are able to collect badges, make posts, and personalize their profile. This makes students more invested in the system and hence more responsible for their learning. Due to this fact, students are more likely to be motivated to interact with the system. Another reason I chose Edmodo is its simplicity of use. This is important because students are new to using an LMS as no other teacher uses one in our school. Choosing a more complicated system like Moodle would require an extensive amount of time to train students on how to use it. Furthermore, Edmodo does not require an email address for student accounts, which is a useful component since many elementary students do not have personal email accounts. Edmodo allows not only teachers and students to interact, but also allows parents to see what assignments are due and how their child is progressing by viewing the gradebook. Teachers can also directly send messages to parents to keep them informed. Edmodo allows students to practice their writing skills and have a wider audience by allowing students to engage in written discussions with their classmates or peers from around the country. Discussions are an important component of my pedagogy. Students engage in discussions about a variety of content, including books, social studies topics, science experiments, and each other's writing. Edmodo, as my technology, will allow discussions that typically take place in class to occur online, which means students could also be involved in them at home. A benefit of this over face-to-face discussions is that it will give every student the opportunity to share their ideas. Where in class, there may be difficulty getting to everyone's ideas due to time constraints and the fact that some students may not feel comfortable sharing their ideas. Using Edmodo will allow everyone to share their ideas and give students the opportunity to read what others think and have the opportunity to respond. Furthermore, by having discussions online, it provides a way to document students' progress as a means of assessment. Discussions are important for a wide range of content. They require students to examine different perspectives on issues. When having a discussion, they may be required to support their beliefs with evidence. This discourse not only expands students' minds and point of views of issues, but it also allows teachers to see this change and use it for assessment. Teachers can also take part in the discussions and push students' thinking by asking questions. Another important component of my instructional pedagogy is having students engage in higher order thinking. I accomplish this through a variety of methods, including having students apply their knowledge to new situations, compare and contrast ideas, create solutions to problems, debating responses to open-ended questions, and summarizing information from multiple sources. As a technology, Edmodo can support these activities by giving students a safe place to do these things. Students who are shy or feel overwhelmed by the whole class presence are more likely to feel at ease debating their ideas online because it is less confrontational. Edmodo will also allow students to complete these types of activities in more creative ways. For example, rather than writing down a summary or a solution, they could create a video, Blogster, podcast, or use another tool to share their ideas. Students could then share their products with the class or just the teacher using Edmodo. The higher level thinking activities are an important component for teaching any content because it requires students to have a deep understanding of the content knowledge. For example, if students were to create a project comparing and contrasting two regions, they must first understand characteristics of those regions in isolation before they are able to find their similarities and differences. Not only will Edmodo help enhance my pedagogy, it can also be used to enhance the content. The 4th grade social studies curriculum is focused on regions of the United States. Edmodo has networks of teachers that allow classes from around the country to connect with one another. Using Edmodo will give students the opportunity to learn about other regions from first-hand accounts rather than just reading about it in a textbook. Students can share information about their region and learn from others about the regions they live in. This could be done through pictures, videos, or written accounts. Students will not only be exposed to the physical geographical differences, but also how it affects life in that region. The Global Classroom Project on Edmodo will also allow students to engage in online discussions with others who may have different experiences and perspectives on topics such as books or current events. These differences will help students understand different points of views. This may be particularly important since students at a given school may have similar experiences. This opportunity also addresses several key standards from the Common Core, including engaging effectively in a range of collaborative discussions with diverse partners on grade 4 topics and texts, building on others' ideas and expressing their own clearly, as well as paraphrase portions of a text read aloud or information presented in diverse media and formats, including visually, quantitatively, and orally. All of these activities require students to be engaged in writing for authentic purposes. Edmodo makes content more accessible by giving students more options for displaying what they have learned. Edmodo will allow not only traditional quizzes, but it's a platform that students can use to submit videos, PowerPoint presentations, or engage in discussions. The discussions that students engage in through Edmodo allow teachers to better understand their thinking and have evidence of it, which is important for accountability. Since I was working on this project throughout the summer, I have not had an opportunity to have students and parents use the program. The part of my Wicked Problem project that I have implemented is setting up my class on Edmodo, as well as setting up a mock student and parent account. Within my teacher account, I created a group entitled 2012-2013 class. I struggled with actually setting up my class. I didn't realize that to set up my class was to create a group. Once I figured that out via the help desk, it was very simple. My next issue was within the class, I wanted to figure out a way to create subgroups. A large part of my implementation plan is having students use Edmodo to engage in small group discussions, perhaps centered around books they are reading, or as writing support groups. Thus, this is an important thing to be able to do. I started to wonder if I had assigned my students to additional groups, so they would have the classroom group, and then would have to switch to a different group for the other work. The Help Center came to the rescue again, and I found a way to create small groups within the larger classroom group. Much like setting up the class itself, once this was discovered, it was very easy to do. I created a quiz out of one of my district's math checking progress assessments. I decided for Edmodo gradebook purposes, it would be more informative for myself and parents to break these quizzes into the individual learning objectives that are being tested. So rather than having a 10-question quiz, there was 3 quizzes, each with 3 to 4 questions. The questions varied from fill in the blank to short answer. I realized that some of the objectives would have to be completed on pencil and paper, such as having students create a bar graph from data. I went into the mock student account and took these quizzes with no issue. A potential problem for students is that they may forget to answer all the questions before submitting because they have to click on the individual question numbers in order to navigate. I then returned to my teacher account to view the grade. I could see my responses, however, the final grade did not appear in the gradebook. I found out that the reason for this is that I had assigned it only to an individual student rather than to the entire class. Individual student assignments do not appear in the gradebook. My next steps are to get students and parents to use Edmodo. During the first week of school, I plan to take students to the computer lab or get a laptop cart so students can sign up for an account and begin to personalize their profile. I also want to discuss web etiquette using the digital citizenship resources from Edmodo. Students can get to know one another and practice using some of the features of Edmodo by viewing each other's profiles and making posts. During the second week of school, we have Curriculum Night. At Curriculum Night, I plan to introduce parents to Edmodo. I will do a brief introduction of how it will be used and how parents can use it at home. I will also give parents information about making an account and accessing their students' information. At Curriculum Night, parents will fill out a brief home technology survey to determine students' access to computers and internet at home. This will help guide whether Edmodo content will be used at home in addition to at school. In addition to some of the content and pedagogy discussed above, some activities that I plan to have students do are using iMovie to record a short video introducing themselves to the class. Then students will upload it to the class page on Edmodo and comment on a certain number of classmates' videos. Throughout the year, I will make book talk groups so students can share their reactions to stories. Students will be grouped by reading level or by interest. I will also utilize discussion threads to discuss the material and have students share book reviews. Students will complete assignments and quizzes on Edmodo. I will use Edmodo's gradebook to track student assignments and quizzes so that parents are in tune with how their child is progressing. I will also have students share their writing on Edmodo and respond to one another. They could also use Edmodo as a place to share digital stories. In order to determine whether Edmodo is a useful tool, I plan to collect several types of data. I will give parents a survey that asks them about their use of Edmodo and how well informed they felt compared to previous school years. Students will complete a pre- and post survey about their attitude of writing. This will help determine whether Edmodo helped give students a more positive point of view of writing. Furthermore, I will measure student engagement during writing by taking random collections of data based on off-task student behavior. I will randomly select 5-minute time periods during writing while students are engaged in doing it on paper and while doing it with Edmodo, and tally the number of incidents of off-task behavior. I will do several samples of each and see if there is a noticeable difference. Students will also take a survey at the end of the year about their experience in using Edmodo. One thing that surprised me was how parents sign up. I was hoping that I'd be able to just send a group code to all of them, like Scholastic Book Clubs, and they'd be able to access it that way. However, each student has their own code, which they are supposed to give to their parents. I will probably go around while students are first creating their accounts to see what their parent code is, and then email it to their individual parents, or print it out on labels that I can send home with parents at Curriculum Night. That way, I don't have to worry about the students forgetting to tell their parents. The disappointment I had was that students can't complete assignments directly on Edmodo, unless it is in quiz form. Therefore, I might have to blend technologies. Perhaps if I want students to complete a group assignment on the computer, I could upload it to Edmodo and then have students use it in Twidla by using the document feature. Then all students would be able to access the same resource, and I'd be able to see what work they each contributed. I think when I encounter future problems with Edmodo, rather than trying to figure it out on my own, I will go straight to the help desk or the support community. That way I won't waste more time than is necessary to figure out problems that have simple solutions. The greatest lesson of this project was the importance of setting up a timeline with given goals and limiting the scope of the project. I think one of the easiest ways to limit the scope is by making a detailed timeline of what will be accomplished and when. This needs to be done before the implementation even begins. I felt like having the timeline made my project much more doable and less overwhelming because I was simply following a template. If I were to complete this project again, I would try out a different LMS in order to determine its functionality, accessibility, and ease of use for teachers, students, and parents compared to Edmodo.